Hello, my name is Bethany. You had asked me to give a little bit more information about my progress tracker, so I thought I'd make a video for you. This is what I use to track all of my students' grades. They complete all their assignments in Google Classroom. I do grade them in Google Classroom, and then I transfer their grades over to here. This way, I can see it all in one spot. I can keep track of what's missing. I can keep track of who was absent. I can write them notes, and it really helps. I then go from here to the grade book, and then I can just split my screen and put grades in straight from here. So I know it seems like a lot, but it has saved my life this year and last year, and it's absolutely amazing. So just to kind of give you an idea of how it works before I show you how to do it, I put grades in here, and you can see I did take out student names and just put student 1, 2, 3, and 4. Normally I would have the student's actual name up here. I do have my 7th grade and 8th grade classes in their own tabs at the bottom, and I created this example class for this video. Off on the left, I have my assignments. They watch videos in my class and complete assignments based off of that video that I created. And then I do small group work in the back while they're watching the video. So it's basically duplicated me and made my classroom a little bit more efficient. So once I put grades in, the students have access to their own. In theirs, they could only see their column and the assignments column. So as I update in student 1's, if I say 60%, come see me tomorrow, the second I update on mine, it updates on theirs. Now, at our school, our internet's pretty quick. It might take, less than 5 seconds for it to update on theirs. On some bad days, it might take a little bit longer, but usually it's pretty quick. Or I can say missing, and then it'll show up on theirs to say missing. Or if I delete things out, once I delete them out, I gotta click out of the box, then it will be gone as well. So it gives the students immediate feedback. They can see exactly what they got. They can see the notes I leave to them, because how many times are you grading at 8 o'clock at night and you're like, oh my gosh, I really need to talk to, student 1, and they really need my help. But then the next day, 100 kids float through your room, and you get to the end of the day and you're like, oh my gosh, I did not talk to that student that I needed to talk to. If you leave them a note, then they will make sure to come talk to you, because they have no idea what it's about, and they're going to definitely make sure to come see what you wanted. I have my students check their progress tracker as they come into my classroom. It's the very first thing I have them do. They walk into my room. I want them to check the progress tracker. Then they do the bell ringer that's on the board. So now that you kind of see how it works, I can show you how to create it. Before I tell you how to create, though, we did talk about a color code system. I do use a color code system in my progress tracker. I use yellow for if a student is absent, and I will even write in absent. I use red for something that's missing, so I'll come in and color that red. And then let's say that a student, got a 60, and I say, please redo. They redid it, so then I'm going to say, okay, they got 95 this time. I'm going to say redone, but it's not in the grade book yet, so I'll turn it pink. And then at the end of the week, I'll make sure to go into PowerSchool, which is how we put our grades in, and change all my pinks in the grade book. And then once I've changed it, I'll turn it back to regular. All right, so how do you create something like this? The first thing is that if you notice, I have absolutely 0 equations in mine. In the students, they have equations in theirs. The tricky thing about that is that if a student messes with this, then it's going to mess up the equation. So you want to make sure that they do not write in here. You write to them, they can't write to you. I always tell my students, if they have something to tell me, they can either email me or come talk to me in person. This isn't the means to do that through. So there are equations in here. If a student messes it up, it's no big deal. You can just go and put the equation back in, and it will relink it. So what I'm really doing is I'm linking theirs back to mine. It seems like a lot. I have 100 students that I teach, and I make one for every single student at the very beginning of the year. It probably takes me an hour at the very beginning of the year, but an hour really isn't that long when you think of the benefits of this, the immediate feedback for them, and the organization for you. So here's how you're going to create it. You're going to start by going to your main one. You're going to open up a new spreadsheet. File, new. We're going to name it. I already have student 1's done, so let's make student 2's. So you're going to come here and name it student 2. Now I usually use the student's first and last name. Then we're going to link it. So you're going to come to this very first cell. You're going to put equals, import range, and you're going to hit tab. Tab gets you that part of a parentheses. Now if you notice it says spreadsheet URL, and that means we need to go back to my main one and copy this URL at the very top. So I'm going to Command C or Control C, however you copy. You have to put quotes around each piece, so I'm going to put quote. I'm going to paste it. This piece right here after the equal and the numbers, you do not need, so take that out and then put the other end of your quote. The last thing you need to do for that part of the equation is to put this comma in, and that's going to bring you to the next part of the equation. You always need to start each section with a quote, so I'm going to put quote, and then I'm going to go back to my progress tracker. I'm going to tell it what I want it to copy over. So the first thing you need is the name of your tab. This is extremely important and where you might have some issues. If you capitalize something, it must be capitalized when you write it. If you have a space, there must be a space. If there's not a space, don't put a space. So mine is example class, no space, with capital E and capital C. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to type in example class with the capital E and capital C. We're going to put an exclamation mark. And now we're going to tell it what cells we want it to copy over from that tab. So we want to copy in column A, we want to copy cells 1 through, I usually go a little bit further down just in case I add stuff, so we'll do 30. So we're going to copy over A1 through A30. And then I'm going to hit tab. It's going to say loading. It's going to ask for permissions, allow access. That pops up on its own. Now notice that none of my formatting transferred over. That's okay. We're going to do it on our own, but remember I said once you do one student, the rest will go really quick. The first student takes the longest. So now I want to do student 2, so I'm going to copy this over. So I just go into that one I just made, come into B, I'm going to paste the one I just made. It copies that same thing over. I'm going to come up here, and the only thing you're ever going to change is now right here. This A1 through A30, that is this column. The B would be the student 1 we've already done, and then the C would be the student 2 that I'm doing now. So I'm going to change my A's to C's and hit tab. Now it's going to have student 2. And if I erase student 2's, it's going to erase student 2's. So let's talk about that formatting. So if you format 1, then you won't have to format again. So I'm going to go ahead and put the outside boxes on. I'm going to make my main sections maybe gray so they know there's no grade in there. It just makes it look a lot prettier. And I'm going to format them all. And I'm done. So now that one student is done, I would come here and share it. Type in their email address. Ours just pops up automatically. And then I would hit done and it would share to them, and now they have it. So that seems like a lot to have to do that 100 times, but let me show you how quick it is to do an entire class. So you would hit File, Make a Copy. Now we're on Student 3, so I'm going to change this name to Student 3. I'm going to hit OK. It's going to, again, allow access once it starts loading here. We're going to say yes. Now notice it says student 2, we want student 3. So student 3 is in column D. So I'm going to change all of these C's to D. hit tab, and there's student 3, and then I would share it. Notice when you share it that it does say restricted, but again, we have the school email, so that won't be a problem as long as you are using their school email. So now student 3 is done. I want to do student 4, so I'd say make a copy. Student 4. One thing I didn't talk about was that you can choose a certain folder in your drive to save them. So like in mine, I have mine all saved in their own folder. So you could do that there. So we would say okay. We're on student 4. If you look at yours, student 4 is E. So I'm going to change all these A's to E. Oh, I changed the wrong thing, so we can just hit Command Z and back up. I want to change the name here to E instead of D. And we would then share. And then I would just keep going through. File, make copy. Now we're on student 5. Hit OK. Student 5 is in F. Allow access. Come in here. We're going to change this E to F. Tab. And we have student 5. So it goes extremely fast once you've made that first one. And like I said, it has just done amazing things in my classroom. The students know exactly what their grades are. They know exactly what they're missing. Since it's self-paced, you know, if I have things in here, they know if there's a blank and it doesn't say missing, that they're not missing it yet. And when they come to class, this is where they need to pick up on. I do have a self-paced classroom, but I do also have deadlines. So when I tell students, like, hey, 8.1 needs to be done by Friday, they know that I'm going to put that grade in the grade book and they better be done. Otherwise, it's going to say missing. So I hope that helps and answers any questions you have. You are more than welcome to shoot me an email at bgriffith45@gmail.com, and I would be happy to answer questions you have. I hope this helps. Good luck.